Welcome back to the Daily Rundown on Channel 7. I'm Cal Doughty, and it's time for Something to Say, where I hand the baton over to my guests who can have a rant or a rave about whatever's on their minds. Stephen, do you want to go first?
Yes, I do. I was going to go on about Diana, because it's 19 years ago since she carked it. But I was flicking through some stuff on Facebook, and I saw a guy helping with the cleanup after the Leeds Festival this weekend, and I've seen stuff like this before, and it really makes me so angry. I know it's probably only a minority, but you're probably familiar with it. They go round on a Monday morning after some festival where all these rebellious young people have just absolutely trashed the place, and they leave their tents. And I nearly said another rude word there, but you know, it's just this disposable consumerist attitude that they have, and they think they're so rebellious, and they're just dropping litter everywhere. And it's pretty apocalyptic, the mess they leave behind. You have to see it for yourself, really, but you'll get an opportunity if you go looking for it. It's absolutely vomit-inducing, and in conjunction with all this stuff that we keep hearing regarding, you know, climate change, there's a new stat every week, isn't there, about how horrendous things are, and they're now basically saying we have to define a new era in geological history that goes along with humankind and the appalling effects we've had on it. You would have thought that people might be a little bit more sensitive to the needs of the planet, or sensitive to the idea that they can actually use that £80 tent for the next festival that they go to, rather than just leave it there. I mean, it's a benefit to the people clearing up. I've got a mate who does. I've done clean-up teams myself, and there is money to be had. And there's, you know, my mate, you know, ended up with about 80 cans of beer. That's a good side if you're on the clean-up team, which is a good job to do. But apart from that, it's a really sad indictment on, it's not just young people who go, obviously, but it tends to be younger people who go, and it's a very poor reflection on popular culture, I think, sounding old. I don't know if you've got an opinion on that.
You're a few words away from yelling, "Get off my lawn."
Oh, yeah, I know.
I like it. So what were you going to say, Madie?
I agree with you. You know, I do agree with you that there's this sort of throwaway culture, and there's a wasteful culture. And obviously climate change is a massive issue, and there's a big cognitive dissonance there between leaving rubbish behind, thinking, oh, but the cleaners will clean it up, and the fact that every year's getting hotter and that we're not going to be able to cope. So I do think that people really have to take individual responsibility for the planet that they live on. So you're completely right to be enraged by it, and it's not an age thing, because I'm terribly young.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
So.
But amongst your peer group, is there still much more of a sort of disposal consumerist attitude than you would like to think that there should be?
I think that the friends that I have are quite considerate people, and to be honest with you, everybody that I know recycles. I don't know anybody that doesn't, or that wouldn't like to say that they do. I do think that is a habit now, so that's a good thing, we can tick that off. But in terms of major events, there is this sort of scripted idea of how to behave, and you're right that it's not rebellious to do that. It's all very organised. If you know what you're about to do, it's not rebellion, it's like a planned act. So it's ridiculous that people are going to have to clean up after other people who just aren't being considerate at all, and that's something that we really need to hammer home, the idea that you can think about more than just yourself.
I wonder if a lot of festival culture, if you could call it that, has actually become a lot more conservative as well.
It has.
Although it's become more mainstream, which has its positive aspects to it, then as it sort of melds with that, I think it takes on conservatism as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Which isn't a nice thought. I go to less than I used to, and I sound really, really old, or I go to gatherings or smaller things now where people, where it would be known and you would get proper glared at if you left some litter or something like that. Not that it's authoritarian, but you would get rightly glared at. But I think there might be an attitude with these people going to the bigger name festivals of, oh well, we can do what we like, we've paid through the nose for it. And that thing, oh yeah, well, it's someone else's job. When I was young, there used to be an advert, an anti-litter advert, trolling out people's excuses. Dad says it gives people jobs, that old one, and stuff like that. That's not really enough. It's disrespectful, full stop, to your environment, to everyone else around it, to behave like that. Personally, at home, I'm a right slovenly whatever. I am very untidy in my own house. And that's probably my right. But outside of it, God forbid.
It's not your place, is it?
Not my place, no.
So what would you see as changing, as a way to change all this?
It's cultural, isn't it? There's not a magic wand, is there?
No.
Clearly. Because I'm sure there is plenty of stuff in festival literature about, please respect and blah, 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 but no one reads the festival literature anyway, do you know what I mean? So it has to be a cultural thing, and it's a bit like what we were saying before about taking on the ideas, the reactionary ideas about female body types or whatever, people taking on reactionary ideas about disposable consumerism, basically. It's a long, hard haul, I'm afraid.
Do you think it's a change that we can see anytime soon, or...?
Not a big one. I'm more pessimistic than you. I don't want to be.
You just got to force optimism. That's what I do. You wake up, you force it.
Let's see a smile. There you go. It was good. That's lovely.
Tidiness.
There you go. You got it.
Peace.
You're pretty much there.
Okay.
It's good. Do you feel better?
I'll work on that. I do a bit. It's cognitive
There we go.
therapy live.
It's okay. That's really nice.
Fake it to make it.
That's good.
Yeah,
thank you for that, Stephen. That was very good. Madie, what is your something to say?
I wanted to talk about the fact that Alicia Keys didn't wear makeup to the VMAs. I don't want to talk about it because I think that that's a news story or an issue, but I want to talk about it because other people are. Other people are making judgments. But realistically, if it's your own face, you decide what to do with it. If you're not harming anyone else, you should be able to do it. And I think I say that every time I'm on here because it's true. That's what you have to think. Is it harming anyone else? No, it's probably fine then. So she didn't wear makeup, and apparently there was a lot of vitriol and judgment about that. So there is an idea that women are free to choose in terms of their appearance, but if you're pressured from so many different angles, then it becomes a political act, which it clearly has, to not wear makeup and conform to beauty standards, and that's completely someone's choice. And I think there's a danger here to go either way and to either commend or condemn. But all you have to do is just accept that that's what she did. It's not a case of saying, oh, she looks better without makeup. She doesn't need it. Why do women do that? Because you can do what you want. You can wear makeup if you want to. I'm wearing red lipstick because I thought, you know what? I look good in red lipstick. I'm going to wear it. And that's fine. It's just as fine as the fact that when I go to work every day, I'd rather sleep in than put makeup on my face. And so I can do both, and Alicia Keys can completely go to a ceremony where the Daily Mail wants to just write about her looks and to either trash her for them or just judge her for them, and then they're frustrated that they can't do that. And people are encouraged to just make judgments on women purely based on their appearance, as we know.
Well, she's not, as I see it, a woman primarily. She's a musician primarily. And she's got considerably more musical talent than most people at the VMA Awards, I should imagine, knowing that she is incredibly talented. So that's number one. And she should be there as a musician, not as a, what does she look like, what is she wearing, whatever. Number two, this is a personal thing, and I'm not just saying it for, points or whatever, but I do genuinely think most women look better without makeup anyway, or certainly pretty minimalised. Number three, a feminist once wrote that makeup is the postmodern veil. I have no idea what it means, but it doesn't half sound clever, right? The postmodern veil, and I thought about that. Well, it kind of is, isn't it? It's actually shielding off who you really are, arguably in a way that traditional Middle Eastern and South Asian headgear does. You know what I mean?
Well, I suppose picking up on that point, Alicia Keys did say something kind of lovely about how she didn't want to cover up anymore. So she views makeup like that personally in a political way. She hasn't always, and that's fine. But now she's come to a decision where she says she doesn't want to cover up who she is, and she thinks that by trying to make herself look how other people might want her to look, that is covering up and too complex, and she shouldn't have to do that. But I do think there's a danger to say that women look better without makeup because it's
Well, that's my personal
that's
aesthetical
fine.
thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean it's not why she's doing it.
No, fair enough. There's an extension of the makeup which I just want to make a point of, because it often looks false. It often doesn't look like a real person. It almost looks like a caricature or a plasticine person, right? And the extension of makeup, of course, is the cosmetic surgery, and they have a lot of problems now in studios in Hollywood with Botox injections, right? Basically, they're struggling. It's usually women that have this done. They are struggling because women who've had too much Botox can't actually control their facial expressions half as much. So it's really bad news for actors to get Botox done because you can't control it, your face.
But we're looking at times where makeup isn't just considered a female thing anymore. Like you're seeing men show up in foundation outfits.
Yeah.
That's like a really sort of forward-thinking attitude, and it's not saying. With also this Alicia Keys, it's saying that makeup isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's also it's a thing that some people might just feel more comfortable using.
Yeah.
But if men are buying into something that can be negative, is that a good thing?
But if it could also be positive in that it makes people feel more comfortable about themselves.
Yeah, you're right, in that it's subjective, dependent on the individual. And also, you can change your mind at any time. I've been on here with no makeup before, and I'm wearing makeup tonight because I like the way that it makes me look, I suppose. So that's why I've done it. And you can choose to wear makeup, and that can still be a feminist choice. Yeah. If you consider that liberating yourself, because you're taking control of your image, and you can do anything with it. In a way, it's creative. Yeah. You know, it's art, if you like, just on the human canvas.
So it's not necessarily like the veil in front of a face. It's something which, like an expansion of your own image, something to build upon, I suppose, if you want to do it in that way. But Alicia Keys in this scenario isn't doing that. She's choosing not to do that.
I wonder if she knew what a fuss it would cause.
Yeah, she did. Yeah. And she wrote an essay about it. I haven't read it, but I've heard that she's written an essay.
Is she pretty smart in the old political realm herself, like?
Well, I don't really know, but I think most people have to be these days. And you would know. You do know as a woman that you're going to be judged
especially
for how you
someone
look.
in the media as well.
Yeah, exactly. No matter what you do, there's not necessarily any winning.
It's a shame, isn't it? Yeah, to have that much fuss over something so small.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. She will have known that it was a small thing and that people would fuss, that they see it as a big thing. Yeah. Because it's distractionism and smoke and mirrors, which is a vast amount of what media is. So they won't talk about real issues like, the music in her case, or politics in the case of a politician who wears the wrong thing or whatever,
Yeah.
That was very interesting. Thank you, Madie. That's all we have time for in this part of the show, but join us after the break for the more unusual stories of the day. See you in 3.